Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, it's an exclusive HBO musical event, Paul Simon, live in Central Park. And at 10, Love in the Outback is outright funny, with Cheech Marin and Emma Samms in The Shrimp on the Barbie. Then at 11:30, the most daring comedy troupe on TV is back, The Kids in the Hall. Paul Simon, The Shrimp on the Barbie, and The Kids in the Hall. It all happens here, tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, an HBO original movie premiere. Daryl Hannah takes comedy to an all-new high in Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. Then at 9:30, take a jaunt to the haunt with Tales from the Crypt. Then at 10, stay up for the sexy HBO original series, Dream On. 50-Foot Woman, Tales from the Crypt, and Dream On. It all happens here, tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 10, Mel Gibson and Danny Glover are together again, cracking cases and heads in Lethal Weapon 3. Then at 12, take an HBO first look at Charlie Sheen's Hot Shots, Part 2. And at 12:30, Joe Pesci and award winner Marissa Tomei star in My Cousin Vinny. Lethal Weapon 3, Hot Shots Part 2, and My Cousin Vinny. It all happens here, tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, Julia Roberts and Patrick Bergen star in Sleeping with the Enemy. And at 10, David Soul heads up the cast in the World War II drama, Tides of War. Then at 11:30, can Martin help his ex-wife with premarital jitters? Dream On. Sleeping with the Enemy, Tides of War, and Dream On. It all happens here, tonight on HBO.
Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, Macaulay Culkin's doing the town. He's Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Then at 10, Comedy's Best come together in Comic Relief 6, Highlights Part 1. And at 12, a homeboy makes good in the white man's world in the hip-happening comedy, Livin' Large. Home Alone 2, Comic Relief 6 Highlights, and Livin' Large. It all happens here tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, a vampire babe stalks the streets in search of Italian food, innocent blood. Then at 10, it's the best hour of comedy on television. First, the sexy Dream On. Then at 10:30, he's the talk of late night, The Larry Sanders Show, starring Gary Shandling. Innocent Blood, Dream On, and Larry Sanders. It all happens here tonight on HBO.
Tonight, HBO's got it. At 8, the action-packed double feature kicks off with Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando. And at 9:30, Steven Seagal is a tough undercover cop who's above the law. Then at 11:30, no one else can give it to you. HBO First Look, A League of Their Own. Commando, Above the Law, and HBO First Look, A League of Their Own. Get it while it's hot, tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 11:30, he's hot, he's cool, he's the host of Late Night. It's the Larry Sanders Show starring Gary Shandling. Then at 12:15, Martin Lawrence hosts Def Comedy Jam. And at 12:45, step inside the hip-hop club world when Rosie Perez presents Society's Ride. Larry Sanders, Def Comedy Jam, and Rosie Perez. It all happens here, tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, terror lurks from below in Stephen King's Graveyard Shift. And at 9:30, we're talking serious comedy here when the HBO Comedy Hour presents The Kathy and Mo Show. Then at 10:30, Sylvester Stallone is Rocky Balboa, a streetwise fighter with a shot at the top in the original Rocky. Stephen King's Graveyard Shift, The Kathy and Mo Show, and Rocky. It all happens here, tonight on HBO. Tonight is worth waiting for on HBO. At 8, two tales guaranteed to make you very, very nervous. Two Evil Eyes. Then at 10, grab a front row seat to thrills and chills with Tales from the Crypt. Viewer discretion advised. And at 10:30, it's HBO's sexy hit comedy series for grown-ups, Dream On. Two Evil Eyes, Tales from the Crypt, and Dream On. Television worth waiting for tonight on HBO. Tonight is worth waiting for on HBO. At 10, grab a front row seat to thrills and chills with Tales from the Crypt. Viewer discretion advised. Then at 10:30, it's HBO's sexy hit comedy series for grown-ups, Dream On. And at 11, see a lot more of Chevy Chase and a lot less, Memoirs of an Invisible Man. Tales from the Crypt, Dream On, and Memoirs of an Invisible Man. Television worth waiting for tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, kidnapper Jeff Bridges makes Kiefer Sutherland a bizarre proposal in The Vanishing. Then at 10, Charlie Sheen takes you behind the scenes of Major League 2, an HBO first look. And at 10:30, get ready for terror, Stephen King's Sleepwalkers. The Vanishing, First Look, and Sleepwalkers. It all happens here tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 10:45, it's an HBO First Look. Meet the creators of Batman, the animated movie. Then at 11, it's an all-new edition of Inside the NFL. And at 12, Francis Ford Coppola's epic love story with a bite. Gary Oldman is Bram Stoker's Dracula. HBO First Look, Inside the NFL, and Dracula. It all happens here tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, Damon and Keenan Ivory Wayans star in the action-adventure spoof, I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker. Then at 9:30, Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson hustle in White Man Can't Jump. And at 11:30, he's the talk of late night, The Larry Sanders Show starring Gary Shandling. I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker, White Men Can't Jump, and Larry Sanders. It all happens here tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, Eddie Murphy's back in town in the blockbusting comedy thriller Beverly Hills Cop 2. Then at 10, a tough LA cop teams up with his ex-wife in The Finishing Touch. And at 11:30, brace yourself for savage comedy and raw entertainment. It's Hardcore TV. Beverly Hills Cop 2, The Finishing Touch, and Hardcore TV. It all happens here tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, premiering tonight, Kevin Costner, Whitney Houston, The Bodyguard. Then at 10:30, Steven Seagal takes on terrorists to save a battleship that's under siege. And at 12:20, adventure, honor, sacrifice. Daniel Day-Lewis is the last of the Mohicans. The Bodyguard, Under Siege, and the last of the Mohicans. It all happens here tonight on HBO. Tonight is worth waiting for on HBO. At 8, Brian Bosworth goes undercover to bust up a biker drug ring in the cop thriller Stone Cold. Then at 9:30, you'll be too creeped to sleep when you see Tales from the Crypt. And at 10, Steven Seagal is a vengeful cop in the hard-hitting adventure Out for Justice. Stone Cold, Tales from the Crypt, and Out for Justice. Television worth waiting for. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, it's Steven Seagal in the hard-hitting killer thriller Out for Justice. Then at 9:30, if you missed it the first time, catch all the action as HBO Boxing presents George Foreman versus Tommy Morrison. And at 11, check out the House Party Homeboys Kid and Play in Class Act. Out for Justice, Foreman versus Morrison, and Class Act. It all happens here tonight on HBO. Tonight is worth waiting for on HBO. At 8, see the premiere. Gina Davis, Tom Hanks, Madonna, and the Girls of Summer in A League of Their Own. Then at 10:15, it's an all-new episode of the sexy series Dream On. And at 10:45, he'll give you the creeps. See the Crypt Keeper in Tales from the Crypt. A League of Their Own, Dream On, and Tales from the Crypt. Television worth waiting for tonight on HBO. Tonight is worth waiting for on HBO. At 8, James Garner in the story of intrigue, secret deals, and backstabbing. The HBO original movie, Barbarians at the Gate. Then at 10, a blowtorch maniac kills a co-ed in All-American Murder. And at 11:35, 3 street-smart cops go after a drug czar in New Jack City. Barbarians at the Gate, All-American Murder, and New Jack City. Television worth waiting for tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, it's party time. It's excellent. It's Wayne's World starring Mike Myers and Dana Carvey. And at 9:45, Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson hustle on and off the court in the b-ball comedy, White Men Can't Jump. Then at 11:55, Kevin Kline and Danny Glover head an all-star cast in the provocative Grand Canyon. Wayne's World, White Men Can't Jump, and Grand Canyon. It all happens here, tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 7, Play-by-Play, a history of sports television. And at 8, Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore, and Whoopi Goldberg star in Ghost. And at 10:10, it's HBO's See It for Free Weekend with hosts Tom Parks and Wendy Malick. Then at 10:30, Steven Seagal is a target who's marked for death. Play-by-Play, Ghost, and Marked for Death. It all happens here, tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 7, get up close and personal with John F. Kennedy in the intimate, revealing portrait, JFK, in his own words. Then at 8, the crime of the century is revisited with Oliver Stone's controversial blockbuster, JFK. And at 11:30, it's an HBO original movie, Deadlock. JFK in his own words, JFK and Deadlock. It all happens here, tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, Motown of the 60s hits Ireland in the high-humored musical drama, The Commitments. Then at 10, a mad doctor attempts to create a new species to replace humans, the unborn. And at 11:30, a struggling student mystery writer is out to avenge his brother's death, Right to Kill. The Commitments, the unborn, and Right to Kill. It all happens here, tonight on HBO. Tonight, you've got 2 great choices on HBO. At 9 on HBO, there's plenty of action on Thursday Night Prime with the premiere of Double Trouble. At 8 on HBO 2, 2 families are caught in domestic bliss. See you in the morning. Then at 10:30 on HBO, it's Russell Simmons' Def Comedy Jam. And at 10 on HBO 2, Diane Keaton stars in this touching story of 3 lifelong friends, the Lemon Sisters. 2 great choices tonight on HBO. Tonight, HBO's got it. At 8, Richard Widmark stars in the suspenseful thriller from HBO Pictures, Blackout. And at 9:45, John Candy and Ali Sheedy's romance has one problem, his mother, Only the Lonely. And at 11:35, the laughs are hot with the HBO Comedy Hour, Rick Dukeman, Hit and Run. Blackout, Only the Lonely, and Rick Dukeman. Get it while it's hot, tonight on HBO. Tonight, HBO's got it. At 9, it's Thursday Night Prime and the badge is back and better than ever. Maniac Cop 2. And at 10:30, the laughs are hot with the HBO Comedy Hour. Larry Miller, Just Words. Then at 11:30, Joe Mantegna hits a home run in Russia when he commands a team of winners in Comrades of Summer. Maniac Cop 2, Larry Miller, and Comrades of Summer. Get it while it's hot, tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, it's a provocative look at one of today's hottest stars, Madonna, Truth or Dare. And at 10, the laughs are on the house. It's One Night Stand, Susie Essman. Then at 10:30, watch one union boss's rise to power through corruption in the HBO original Teamster Boss, the Jackie Presser story. Madonna, One Night Stand, and Teamster Boss, the Jackie Presser story. It could only happen here, tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, Demi Moore is a mystical maiden enticing up some romance in The Butcher's Wife. Then at 10, the faithful having a prayer when Portland priest Robbie Coltrane gets promoted in The Pope Must Diet. And at 11:35, Bruce Willis and Damon Wayans track down a killer in The Last Boy Scout. The Butcher's Wife, The Pope Must Diet, and The Last Boy Scout. It all happens here, tonight on HBO. Got it. At 6, lock the doors and hide the dog. Macaulay Culkin is home alone. And at 8, Al Pacino is back, and the Corleone family will never be the same. The Godfather Part 3. Then at 10:45, get it while it's hot. It's HBO's free preview with your host, Tom Parks. Home Alone, The Godfather Part 3, and HBO's free preview. Get it while it's hot, tonight on HBO. Tonight, HBO's got it. At 8, Kevin Costner heats up the screen as the world's most famous outlaw, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Then at 10:25, get it while it's hot. It's HBO's free preview with host Tom Parks. Then at 10:45, just when you thought it couldn't get any hotter, Steven Seagal is out for justice. Robin Hood, HBO's free preview and out for justice. Get it while it's hot. Tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, The Godfather weekend continues with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro in The Godfather Part 2. Then at 11:30, Nick Nolte stars in a powerful look at corrupt cops, Q&A. And at 1:45, comedy too hot for ordinary TV. Russell Simmons' Def Comedy Jam. Viewer discretion advised. The Godfather Part 2, Q&A, and Def Comedy Jam. It all happens here, tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, Double Feature Friday features Eddie Murphy, first in another 48 hours. Followed at 9:45 by the hilarious one-man show, Eddie Murphy Raw. Then at 11:30, it's another chilling chapter of Tales from the Crypt. Viewer discretion advised. Another 48 hours, Eddie Murphy Raw and Tales from the Crypt. It all happens here, tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, Forrest Whitaker and Jennifer Grey star in the HBO original movie, Criminal Justice. And at 9:30, fantasy comes to life for a nerd in love in Dream Trap. Then at 11, see pro football from the inside on this week's edition of Inside the NFL. Criminal Justice, Dream Trap, and Inside the NFL. It all happens here, tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, Melanie Griffith and Matthew Modine have nothing but trouble from their new tenant, Michael Keaton, in Pacific Heights. And at 10, it's the painfully funny new series from the mind of Billy Crystal, Sessions. Then at 10:30, it's another episode of the sexy hit comedy series for grown-ups, Dream On. Pacific Heights, Sessions, and Dream On. It could only happen here, tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. First at 8, Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte are together again in the Sunday night movie, Another 48 Hours. And at 10, catch an all-new episode of the sexy hit comedy series, Dream On. Then at 10:30, it's a tale of black magic. Fred Ward is Detective Lovecraft in the HBO original movie, Cast a Deadly Spell. Another 48 Hours, Dream On, and Cast a Deadly Spell. It could only happen here, tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, HBO's Double Feature Friday begins with Forrest Whitaker and Robin Givens in A Rage in Harlem. Then at 10, Wesley Snipes and Ice-T fight a dangerous drug war in New Jack City. And at 12, comedy too hot for ordinary TV. Russell Simmons' Def Comedy Jam. Viewer discretion advised. A Rage in Harlem, New Jack City, and Def Comedy Jam. It all happens here, tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, Gina Davis, Tom Hanks, and Madonna score big in the Girls of Summer hit, A League of Their Own. Then at 10:15, Wall Street baron Danny DeVito learns the trade-offs to trading other people's money. And at 12, Clint Eastwood, Gene Hackman, and Morgan Freeman, Unforgiven. A League of Their Own, Other People's Money, and Unforgiven. It all happens here, tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, Mel Gibson and Glenn Close grace the screen in the premiere of Franco Zeffirelli's Hamlet. And at 10:30, take an exclusive look at classic Mel Gibson, The Making of Hamlet. Then at 11, get ready for the ride of your life when the Dice Man takes you on the adventures of Ford Fairlane. Hamlet, The Making of Hamlet, and the adventures of Ford Fairlane. It could only happen here, tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, a courtroom battle becomes a family feud for Gene Hackman and Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio in Class Action. Then at 10, the mob's gonna pay for what they did to his family. Dolph Lundgren is the Punisher. And at 11:35, the making of a masterpiece, The Godfather Family, a look inside. Class Action, The Punisher, and The Godfather Family. It all happens here, tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, Julia Roberts is Sleeping with the Enemy. And at 9:40, it's HBO See It for Free Weekend with your hosts Tom Parks and Wendy Malick. And at 10, Martin falls for a lusty psychotic in Dream On. Then at 10:30, it's a true life story of the mob, Goodfellas. Sleeping with the Enemy, Dream On, and Goodfellas. It all happens here tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, premiering tonight, A Case of Mistaken Identity. Dustin Hoffman, Gina Davis, and Andy Garcia star in Hero. Then at the adults-only original comedy, Dream On. And at 10:30, it's another new episode of Tales from the Crypt. Hero, Dream On, and Tales from the Crypt. It all happens here tonight on HBO. Tonight, it all happens here on HBO. At 8, Zach Galligan and Phoebe Cates are surrounded by hordes of nasty little gremlins. And at 10, there's spine-tingling terror for a group of film students in Popcorn. Then at 11:30, comedy too hot for ordinary TV. Russell Simmons' Def Comedy Jam. Viewer discretion advised. Gremlins, Popcorn, and Russell Simmons' Def Comedy Jam. It all happens here tonight on HBO.
Tonight, you've got two great choices on HBO. At 8, To Lie or Not to Lie, Demi Moore, Alec Baldwin, The Juror. At 9 on HBO 2, Paul Newman and Jessica Tandy, Nobody's Fool. Then at 10 on HBO, Brian Bosworth and Joe Torre, the HBO world premiere movie Back in Business. And at 11 on HBO 2, He'd Just Like to Take Her Out for a Bite, Eddie Murphy, Angela Bassett, Vampire in Brooklyn. Two great choices tonight on HBO.